cold. It's in the single digits out. We got beautiful snow, and the animals still need to be taken care of. So I'm out braving the cold, which is no big deal. I love it. I grew up in Wisconsin. This is awesome. But right now we just got the water changed out for the rabbits and got their pellets filled. Right now we're going to take up a bunch of hay. I'm taking up, and I'm going to show you here in a minute, I'm taking up this much hay every single day. And they are, you'll see when we get up there, it's disappearing. And they've got a nice, wonderful, and first of all, okay, let me explain. Well, let me finish that sentence. They have a nice, wonderful tunnel going underground, which was where they're spending most of their time now that it's super duper cold. But these are 4 rabbits that we did. I call it a rescue, but really they were a bonded sister pair that just needed a home together. So it wasn't any sort of abusive situation or anything like that. It's just, I think the folks realized they didn't have the time for them anymore. I think the kids had lost interest. I'm trying to remember now. I can't even exactly remember the reasoning. But we, and we're thinking about doing a full LLC rescue kind of thing because most of our animals now are rescues. And so these are 4 rabbits that you'll see that are a bonded sister pair, or not pair, quadruplets, a quad of bonded sisters. And we were going to keep them inside through the winter because I didn't think they would be acclimated enough for winter outside. I didn't think they'd have time to build a tunnel, but we put them out one day when it was super, super nice. This was like a month or 2 ago. It was still kind of warm, but we put them out when it was super nice and a little cooler, just because heat is actually worse for rabbits than cold. And they started tunneling immediately. And so I was like, I wonder. And so I let them do their tunneling. And they must have the most beautiful, intricate tunnel system built because the hay is disappearing. And so it's got to be disappearing down into that tunnel, making just a beautiful, beautiful home down there for them underground. Super, super warm underground for them. We do not supplement their heat at all. We do not need to supplement their heat. We do supplement with pellets, hay, and fresh vegetables, of course, through the winter because they can't free range to get that. These will be released in the spring to free range with all of our other rabbits. And I have noticed some other rabbits coming up to the fencing of this enclosure, and I've let them in to say hello, but they've kind of gotten into a little bit of a scrap each time, and so I'm not welcoming any other rabbits into this quad enclosure for this winter. I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want them to fight underground and have an injury that I can't see. So we're going to take this hay, and I'm going to show you here in a minute. We're going to take this hay up to the rabbits, and you get to see the rabbits. So if they're not down in the tunnel, we'll see. All right, so this is, hi baby. This is, hi, I should call you by your proper name. It's Uno. Hi, Uno. Where's Dose and Trace? I don't know. There's Kitty Soft Paws, not to be confused with Uno or Dose or Trace. I don't know where your brothers are, but are you hitching a ride on the hay? Are you hitching a ride on the hay, my love? So this is how much hay goes down or up to the rabbits every single day, the quad rabbits. The other rabbits have access to all of our sprayer bales. But yeah, this much hay goes to them. And so we're going to drag that up to their enclosure, and I'll show you once we get up there. All right, we'll see you up there. All right, here we are. You'll see some goats roaming around the outside. This pen is actually in the goat enclosure. Hi, Elliot. It is actually in the goat enclosure, and that helps protect against predators. How many are out right now? Hi, there's 1. They like to come out in the sun. Oh, there's 3, and I know I saw 1 go in the tunnel when I came up. So there's their tunnel going down in, and I don't know how many feet over it goes, but they have built that beautifully. There's hay. All that hay that I have on that tarp, that was in here yesterday. So I think they're just taking it all down into their tunnel. They have to be. But the reason we have this enclosure in the middle of the goat enclosure is because usually we have our Great Pyrenees up here running with the goats to protect the goats. And that keeps any predators from digging under this to get into here as well. And so, hi love. And so, yes, it's just a extra security measure to keep our rabbits safe, because raccoons and coyotes and things, if this was elsewhere on the homestead that the Pyrenees wasn't able to protect, they would dig under, and it would be just an absolute pain to predator proof a pen that is meant to be moved, adaptable, and so yeah, so we choose to predator proof it this way, where we make it so that they have protection. Although right now the Great Pyrenees is inside because it's so cold, and he's older, and he just kind of told me that he wants to be inside for this cold snap. So hi lovies. So we're going to put all that hay in here, and then I will show you. Should you just hang out with me while I do it? Let's do that. Hello lovies. Let's get some hay. And I put the hay up a little bit just so they don't poop on it so much and pee on it, and then they pull it down. All right. Let's see. We still got more hay coming. So as you can see, a wonderful amount of hay. And there's rabbits. I think they might have all hopped up during this. I don't know. There's a couple in there eating. I don't know where they are now, but they of course can come out easily. They love it, but they do spend most of their time down in their hidey hole. But yeah, this is so nice. I love for them. One thing we're gonna do, once I have a friend coming to help on Tuesday, we are going to wrap this in white or clear plastic so that the sun can still get in, because they love sun in the winter. But I want it to be a little bit more weatherproof. They haven't needed it until now, but we've got a cold snap, and so we will be wrapping this in plastic, and it will be awesome. And so this baby gate around here, this was just at one time we had smaller rabbits in here, and I just didn't want them to get out through the fencing. So this has been used for different rabbits. We move it to give grass and stuff like that. And so, oh, they're so happy. And yep, there's their water, and that was filled with hot water. I will put a heater out here if needed, like a base heater for it. So far it hasn't been needed. We just thaw it out and refill it every day. And so yes, it works well. And this is a good water for them for winter, just because I don't know, it just works better in winter for them. It just stays, for some reason it stays thawed out better than a bowl water, or we definitely don't use the bottled waters in the winter. They do have heated bottled waters, but they just go through that water so fast. So we'd have to fill them like 10 times a day. All right. Okay, the kid in me definitely wants to go and jump and crack all that ice. I mean, come on, look it. It's so icy. Athena, is it so icy? It's so icy. Yes, it is. She's like, don't get me all excited. I'll do it. I'll go jump on the ice with you, Mom. Yeah, look, Athena, we could have so much fun. Ice for days. So what happens is it flooded, or happened is it flooded, and then ice. Oh, look at that, look at that. And there's usually a nice little creek that runs down through here. But you can see where the ice broke right there, that's where the creek is. And anything above there is where it flooded up over. Oh, so neat. I just want to jump on the ice. We may still just go jump on the ice. It's pretty exciting. That'd be some pretty exciting ice jumping.
Alrighty, so moving on to garlic. So first of all, this is the first time I have done a voiceover, which means that I am just watching the video, watching what I'm doing, and I'm talking over it. This is just different from when I talk in the video, and it's just a little bit easier because I can give you kind of some information without getting distracted on what I'm doing. And so I am getting the cloves of garlic ready to plant. This is a California soft neck garlic that I have here. I also have some Russian hard neck, and we'll talk about the difference between soft neck and hard neck here in a moment. But let me just tell you that this is a day in the life, literally in January, the end of January, which is not the time that you want to put cloves of garlic in your garden to grow a whole head. So this is a single clove of garlic that comes from a head. You can see the root part is on the bottom, and then the shoot part where the scape comes out, where the plant comes out, is at the top. And I'm just picking the cloves apart on this head. You are supposed to plant garlic in the fall. We are talking October, November. You can see there, that's where the top is. That's where the bottom root part is. I'm just showing that on the video. You want to put the root part down, that part down in the ground when you're planting in ideally October or November. And we'll kind of talk about that here in a minute as well. But I did not get around to it. Life was crazy. I just didn't get around to it. There, once again, is the part that you're going to plant down in the soil. For some reason, I'm enjoying showing you that very closely and often. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyways, October, November is when you are supposed to get this garlic in the ground. 1 clove of garlic will grow a whole head. And what that does, there's a process called vernication. Oh, how do you say that? I forget now. Vernalization. Yeah, vernalization. There's a vernalization period. And that's a period where the garlic needs that coldness to just promote the growth. And we'll get into that here in a moment here. I got these heads of garlic, and you can't just keep them like you do seeds. You have to either, get them in, or you have to use them. And I could use these garlic as garlic, but I wanted to grow it so badly. I've grown it every year. Now here, just real quick, you can see I came across a bad clove. And so it's rotting a bit. And so I'm going to set that aside and just see, when you're separating the cloves from the head, if the one end, the scape end, or the end that the little shoot comes up, if that feels real soft, then kind of peel back that skin just a little bit and see if it's rotten on the end. You do not want to plant those. You can cut off that rotten part and just use that garlic in your cooking, but you definitely don't want to plant those cloves. And so I'm finding a couple on this head. And what I will do is I will call the manufacturer if there's enough of them. If it's like a whole head or something, I'll call them or message them and just let them know, hey, I'd like some reimbursement on this because I lost a whole head. And I can tell you right now, there's about a whole head, half a head, 3/4 of a head of garlic that ended up being rotten. And so I did get a hold of them, and they offered a refund. So that worked out well. So anyways, you want to get your garlic in the ground for most folks in October, November. And that allows 4 to 8 weeks of really cold temperatures below 40 degrees. And that gives it that vernalization period. The cold weather promotes the plants to start growing roots, go dormant for the winter, and then return in the spring ready to grow into plump bulbs. So you're going to get a whole bulb. So what you saw at the beginning that I was peeling apart all the different cloves, 1 clove will produce a whole bulb like that, a whole head of garlic when it's time to harvest that in the early fall, late summer, early fall. In cool climates, so you're talking about Wisconsin, northern Indiana, Dakotas, in cool climates, the weather will do the work for you, which is beautiful. Here, we're right on the cusp of cold and mild. And so if I would have gotten it in October, November, we had some beautiful cold snaps in December and January, and that would have done all the work for me, but I didn't get mine in the ground. So we'll talk about that here in a second. I'm getting ready to get it in the ground, and I'm super excited about that. In fact, when this video comes up, I think I would have just gotten it in the ground. So that'll come up here in a moment. So in warm southern growers, the warm southern folks, you need to put your garlic heads in, or cloves, either as a whole head or individual cloves, in the refrigerator, not the freezer, but in the refrigerator for 5 to 10 weeks. And so I separated all these cloves. I'm going to put them in a bag. I'm not going to seal the bag because I'm going to get ready to plant them here shortly. When I did this, the ground was frozen, but I had saw on the forecast that it was going to heat up just a little bit so I could get them in the ground. But anyways, you want to refrigerate. If you're in warmer climates, we're talking Florida, we're talking Georgia, you want to refrigerate your bulbs for 5 to 10 weeks before you put them in the ground. And I would definitely recommend soft neck garlic for you guys in the warmer climates, because that soft neck doesn't really need as much of a vernalization period. Now, one thing though, you don't want to plant your garlic too early. Early planting results in poor growth and less likelihood of bulbing. So you don't want to get your garlic in the ground in like August or September, because then it's going to try to grow too soon. The cloves may rot. You really want to find that good balance between planting too early or too late. And there's a couple different rules. So for cold climates, we're talking about the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Excuse me, I'm a little raspy today. You're going to want to plant 4 to 6 weeks before the ground starts to freeze, or right around the first light frost. So mild climates, which is us, in my opinion, we're like right on the border of mild and cold. you want to plant 2 to 3 weeks before or after your estimated first fall frost. If the weather is unusually warm, then you can, during the fall, then you can wait until a freeze. Now in warmer climates like Florida, Georgia, those kind of places where you really don't get a whole lot of frost, choose soft neck varieties, first of all, and refrigerate for that 5 to 10 weeks before planting, and plant during the coldest season that you have. So to figure out your hardiness zone, or whether you're mild, cold, or warm, I recommend using the USDA Plant Hardiness Zone Map. Just Google USDA Plant Hardiness Zone Map, and that's going to help you determine your growing zone. And then you can head to the Farmer's Almanac to calculate the estimated first frost date of the autumn. And then that's going to give you a good idea of the best window of opportunity for getting your garlic in the ground. For us, Southern Indiana, we are October, November is that sweet spot. So while you can't technically grow garlic anywhere in the U.S., certain types are better for certain regions. So this is where we're going to talk about the soft neck versus the hard neck. Now, what I did is I went ahead and planted, like I said, the end of January, beginning of February, I planted soft neck and hard neck. I did not refrigerate any of mine. I am desperately hoping we have a good couple weeks of cold to get that vernalization process done, and I'm just going to see what happens. I'm guessing that my soft neck is going to do better than my hard neck. Their cultivation is similar, but their planting times and hardiness are unique. So the hard neck garlic is more cold hardy and best for like northern climates. It requires the chilly winter, called that vernalization period, to create nice full bulbs. And as the name implies, the hard neck garlic has a stiff central stalk. They are the only kind of garlic too that sends up that buttery, delicious scape. And so those are those scapes that come up, and I love those. And they're like a flower stalk during the spring and summer. And you can harvest those and use those in salads or on garnish on top of baked potatoes. They're awesome. The cloves tend to be larger on that hard neck, and they're easier to peel, and they're more complex in flavor. I personally like the flavor of hard neck garlic much, much better. So you want to plant hard neck garlic right around the first fall frost to ensure that it gets like a full 4 to 8 weeks of cold exposure below that 40 degrees. So now soft neck garlic is better for the mild or the warmer climates. So that's, I think my soft neck garlic is going to do better because I got it in later in the season. I'm not expecting huge heads. I'm going to wait a little longer to harvest or to cultivate it and to pick it and stuff like that at the end. I'm going to wait a little longer and give it some more time. And so that's kind of how I'm going to hopefully cheat the system. So that soft neck only needs mild cold exposure, and it can usually be hacked with that 5 to 10 weeks in the refrigerator if you live in a very warm climate before you plant it. The soft neck varieties have a soft stalk for garlic braids. So when you see a lot of people braiding to dry out their garlic and hold their garlic like in a root cellar and stuff, those braids are usually the soft neck variety. They have a longer storage life. They're smaller cloves, more wrappers, and the mild to hot flavors. So more wrappers just mean that that helps them stay a little bit longer. So a lot of like homesteaders, a lot of preppers and things like that do grow the soft neck variety because they just last longer in that root cellar. And they have the mild to hot flavor. So I personally don't think they're as flavorful, but they last longer. They hold longer. One of the biggest mistakes that beginner garlic growers make is planting their garlic too soon. So they get worried about when that frost is going to happen. They want to make sure their garlic gets a good root system going. So they plant their garlic early. Well, then what happens is the garlic gets a root system going, and then it actually starts to grow. It doesn't go dormant like it needs to over the winter. And so then it's just very bad things. This cold hardy allium, which is what garlic is, doesn't just tolerate the cold, it needs it, like I said. So I kind of think of it like this. Think of your garlic cloves as like plant storage capsules. Inside are all the starches, sugars, and genetics that the plant needs to grow before it can actually photosynthesize with its leaves. So garlic is meant to establish some roots during the fall and then go dormant in the winter. And if you plant too early, it doesn't go dormant, and that's the problem. In the spring, it uses all of that cold weather root growth to push up a sprout and start growing more cloves until it forms a whole big bulb. So in the best case, planting too early will cause your garlic to have small bulbs. So that's like best case scenario. but those are no fun to peel. I hate those. Not I hate them, but they're just, I have to like use a million of them to get what I want. However, in the worst case scenario, planting too early can cause green shoots to go up too early. And when the frosts come and you've got those shoots up, the shoot dies and the clove doesn't have enough energy for spring. The clove could even desiccate or dry up, rot, or get eaten by rodents. And so those rodents are still very active in the fall. And so you want to wait late fall, early winter, October, November to get that garlic in the ground. So this is why spring planted garlic can only ever become like a spring onion or scallion. It isn't able to really bulb up because it doesn't get the cold exposure it needs. So that's what I'm worried about by planting my garlic so late, or January, February. I really need like a good 4 weeks of coldness, and I'm not sure I'm going to get that. And if I don't, I don't. Really, there was nothing else I could have done other than cook with this garlic, and so I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to see what happens and try it. I wish now I would have put it in the fridge for 5 to 10 weeks because I did get this garlic like 2 months ago, but I didn't, and that's bad on me. I just didn't. So the same thing that happens when the southern or tropical growers try to plant during the fall is the weather is too hot and it stunts the growth of the cloves, so they never develop bulbs. Garlic plants need that vernalization, a period of chilling, to trigger the plants to develop the big spicy bulbs that we crave. Without that vernalization, you can end up with pathetic bulbs or cracked cloves with very low yields, which is what we might get. I don't know though. February tends to be a cold month here in southern Indiana, so I'm hoping, let's all hope together. This isn't something I'm going to pray for because it is what it is, and I've got plenty of other things to pray for. So let's just, I don't know, throw caution to the wind on this one. We'll see. So unlike most garden veggies, though, garlic evolved in the frigid northern temperatures and actually requires that cold to grow to its full potential, which is so neat. If you live in a zone that freezes, like a zone 7 and colder, refrigeration of the garlic is not necessary. So you don't have to refrigerate when you live in a zone 7 or colder, and that's us. However, if your garden is in zone 8 or warmer, your garlic may benefit from that refrigeration before planting, 5 to 10 weeks in the fridge. In areas with warmer winters, you need to fool your garlic into thinking that it's way up north. And because that soft neck garlic requires less vernalization, southern growers typically opt for those soft neck varieties. But if you have the patience, the hot climate gardeners can also grow hardneck varieties. Just you got to put it in the fridge for sure. The ideal refrigeration times are for the soft neck 5 to 8 weeks, for the hard neck in warm climates 10 to 12 weeks. Once again, if you're in that cold climate or the colder mild climate, you do not need to refrigerate your garlic if you get it in October, November, because the weather will do it for you. The warmer your winters, the longer you should refrigerate. For tropical gardeners, this means you will need to order your seed and get it in the fridge by August or September. When November rolls around, you can plant it as the weather cools. A nice leaf of straw or mulch can help keep the ground cool throughout the growth period. So I did put straw over my garlic that I'm planting, and I did get a bunch of it in, and so I put straw over that. And also consider how long your average cool weather is. For instance, many growers in zone 9 have the perfect conditions for growing garlic as long as it's in the ground by early November. Their cold season is usually December through February, and there will often be temperatures into the 20s. Zone 10 growers rarely see below the 30s, but have a similar timing for their chilly months. And then those zone 11 growers should definitely consider vernalizing in the fridge for sure. So here we have this neat little scrubby foot pad that it suction cups in the shower, but you have to put it together a little bit. And this took me forever to put together. You have to put the ears on, which are, you can see these plastic pieces and these little nubs go into these little holes, but I don't know. It's just, and I read online the reviews, people said this was the worst part of this mat. They could not get those things, the little pegs through the holes. It was so annoying. I did do it, but it literally took me 2 sessions, like 30 minutes each, 2 sessions to get all these in. So I had started working on this one on a different session. I had 2 left and I was like, oh, let me video this just to show folks how awesome this little thing is. I had seen this. It had come up on an Amazon recommended, and in the spring, summer, and fall, I love to either go barefoot or with flip-flops or sandals. When I'm gardening, when I'm doing anything, And so my feet get so dirty, and I can't stand going to bed with dirty feet. I can't stand walking on the carpet with dirty feet. And so I would love to be able to use something like this in the shower. So it's got suction cups. It goes suction cups on the bottom of the tub. And you can see it's got the little scrubbies on the main mat part, and then also on the ears. That's where you put your feet in and scrub back and forth, and it scrubs the top of your feet, scrubs the bottom of your feet. And I had suggested to my husband to get it for me, and he didn't because he thought it was kind of creepy. And so I just bought it. I just bought it for myself. I Amazon ordered it myself. I can do that. I can just Amazon order things. And it came, and I'm so excited. I have not used it yet. I just got it put together, and I need to get it in the bathtub. But yeah, you suction cup it to the bottom, and that's wonderful. And then after you're done with it, you just put it in the shower to rinse it off or whatever, and then you suction cup it on the wall so that it dries and so that it doesn't collect any bacteria or mildew or anything like that. And I'll probably just spray mine with vinegar every once in a while, and so it just suction cups up on the wall, and that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, it's awesome. And so winter was especially tough for a couple weeks, and we had our big old Great Pyrenees Ratchet who decided to come in. He wanted to come in. We let him come in. He slept inside for a week. He stayed inside, slept inside for a week. But because he is used to being out with the chickens and goats, this dog didn't really know how to tell us he had to go potty. And so there was a couple times when he went potty on the bricks. So I got to scrub and scrub and scrub. My floors have never been cleaner, which is beautiful. I always suggest one of these stiff bristled combs for any kind of floor scrubbing. This gets in on the grout so nicely. I do use a bleach spray, and you can come at me for using bleach. I don't care. That's wonderful. I think you can come at me. I don't care for, I use bleach. I just do. I want things to be sanitary. And so scrubby, scrubby, scrubby. And this was a bit of a challenge because I have a messed up shoulder, which is so frustrating. Collarbone, rotator cuff, some huge issues. And so I couldn't really use my right arm at all. And I couldn't use it to even put down to brace myself to scrub with the left. And so you can see me, this was just a challenge. And a couple times I just pause and I say a little prayer, and I just thank God that I have what I have, and that it will heal, and life is life. I never mind. I say I never mind cleaning up after the dogs when they have a mess or something like that. I guess I kind of mind, but I always look at it like this, and I remember this while I'm doing it. I love my dogs, and they are incredible. They do incredible things for us. God wants me to be a steward to these animals, and a good steward. And look, that's why I'm just resting for a minute. I'm just like, ow, it hurts. I can do this. But as I'm doing these things, I thank God for reminding me to scrub my floors. I thank God. I always say, okay, God, you told me my floors need to be scrubbed. This is you telling me my floors need to be scrubbed. But I am a steward of these animals, and so I really never mind. But this is why I was saying a little prayer. Just thank you, God. Alrighty, so we are doing a little project here in that cold time. I desperately wanted to plant something. I couldn't get that garlic in the ground when we were having this really, really cold snap, but I desperately wanted to do something with greenery. And so I stopped by Robin's Nest, and I got some succulents. I got some new succulents. I got some more donkey's tails. That's what these are. Donkey's tail, or sedum. I can never say this last name. Sedum morganianum. I'll put up here on the screen. It's got like rows of these fleshy teardrop shaped like blue-green leaves. And this is like a really, really good choice for hanging plants indoors. And I love these little mini jars that I have. They hang up by the kitchen sink, and I hardly ever water these. And part of the reason why I don't have to water them very often is, number one, because they're a succulent, and number two, because I do not have any drainage in this jar. So yes, this is horrible. Robin from Robin's Nest, Robin Kaiser, don't come at me. I know every plant should have drainage, but I water these so infrequently that I don't put any drainage in there. I just use that wonderful succulent mix. I put them in, and I have had these for years and years and years. They don't grow crazy big or crazy long just because I really do forget to water them all the time. And they're in a small container, so they don't have a whole lot of room for root expansion. And so I'm just kind of repotting these. I've moved. There are a couple that had grown really, really big, and so I needed to take them out and move them into a bigger pot in a different location because I want this area to stay small. As far as the succulents, I want the succulents to stay small in these little jars. But yes, so I do not have any drainage in the bottom of these jars, and I water probably once every 3 months, 4 months, but there you can see one big one, and that's one that I'm taking out to put that little one in, and that is a Gasteria. I never know exactly how to say them, Gasteria, and I think that variety that I was showing you just a second ago was like a little warty, and they call that because it's a great plant for beginner, but they call that because it has small bumps that run across those thick green leaves, and it kind of gives the appearance of warts. And so I think they call that kind of Gasteria, little warty. I can't remember what this one is called. I'll have to look it up because I cannot remember. It's super cute. I love it, but I can't remember what it's called. If anyone knows what this one is called, I know the light isn't great. But this just kind of, it helped me just get some play in the dirt. I think maybe that's what I was looking for, was some play in the dirt. And so it allowed me to get that play in the dirt. Now I'm using a succulent mix that I got from Robin's Nest just because I was lazy and I don't want to make my own. But a really good succulent mix is 2 parts sand, 2 parts soil, and then 1 part of either perlite or pumice. That perlite and pumice helps that soil to breathe. And if you use pumice, it does help to retain nutrients. And so it's 2 parts sand, 2 parts soil, and then that 1 part of perlite or pumice. And the, I don't know, so if people understand how those parts work, it'd be like 2 cups sand, 2 cups soil, and then 1 cup of the perlite or pumice, just, however you're doing it there. And so I had a really good time playing with these plants and just potting up some different little baby succulents. And Robin's Nest in Boonville used to have a ton of succulents, but they had some water damage in that greenhouse recently, or at some point. And they are down to not very many succulents now. They still have a decent variety, but there's just not a ton of them. So I bet they're going to grow up their succulents, and that'll be, they'll have a nice big stock again. Right now, it's the beginning of February, end of January, beginning of February. And they are having an amazing plant sale. I think it's their last indoor plant sale of the season. I think it's 6 of the 4-inch. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's 6 of the 4-inch plants for $20. I went in the other day and it was 5 for $20. And so I got 10 of those plants and had a blast. Not these, some different ones. I got these succulents as well, and they were super cheap, which is awesome. But Robin's made the deal even better. And it's 6 for $20 right now. So I think that's going on through the first week of February, maybe even the second week of February. And actually, Robin has retired now, and so her daughter-in-law and her son have it. And so John Thomas, yep, they have it now, and it's doing really well. I can't wait to have garden veggies, cabbage and broccoli and things like that. I might go help again at the greenhouse this year if they let me. We'll see. I just love that place. I love being with the plants and in the soil and just having a good time. So I got these little hangers at Hobby Lobby, and it came with the jars and the hangers. I painted them, and I hate that paint color scheme. I don't like the yellow. The blue's not bad. The green's not bad, although I don't love it, but I really don't like the yellow. And so I just at some point need to repaint those. I'm thinking about putting the watercolor thing, I can't remember what it's called now, the watercolor thing over the top of it and doing like a watercolor kind of thing, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. And so, yeah. Okay, what the heck tractor supply? A survival spear? Where do we live? I kind of want to get it. We'll see how this voiceover goes. It was interesting. I like it. We'll see. So you all have a great day. And remember, do everything you can with whatever you have, wherever you are. And just know that I love you and I appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed, I would appreciate that too. If you haven't shared a video lately, I'd appreciate that too. So y'all have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.